we start recording? Welcome to today's episode of Inspire Higher. I am going to be your host today, Lysa Black. I am so blessed to be able to be interviewing the amazing healer, intuitive channel that is Karina Ladet. And I'm very, very excited that this amazing blab show that we're hosting weekly is co-hosted by the incredible influencer, the lead influencer, Natalie Cutler-Welsh, and amazing Catapult Your Business, Natalie Tolhoft. So what happens is last week we came together, we introduced the theme of the month, and then each of us will interview someone really really fitting and really powerful for that monthly theme. So this monthly theme is stepping into the light, and I purposefully approached Karina and asked her if she would be willing from the beautiful land of France to be able to join us. So I just want to really thank Karina that she's up at 10:30 in France to be able to meet this time for all of us here in New Zealand. So welcome from around the world. I'm hosting you from Whangarei, that's north of New Zealand. And Karina is a dear friend of mine. How long have we known each other for now, Karina?
Gosh, it hasn't been that long. So it's pretty funny because it's been what, like 6 months?
Yeah, I think 6 months.
Like kind of known each other a lot more than just saying hi on Facebook. So I think it's been like the end of the summer. Well, summer for me, winter for you guys. But
yes,
yeah, it's just crazy. Right. It feels like a really, really long time. But I think because it's so intense, right? Because we both like intense.
Yes. Which is such... Oh, so let me give a little bit more of an introduction for you, Karina. I'll just check in with everyone that's watching. Can everyone see us? My visual has gone down, so I'm just checking with everyone who's watching us just to make sure that you can see us. I have the open seat and lock seat options, but I've lost visual, and I would love to be able to see you, Karina, so I don't know what's happened for me.
I can't see you either, but you know.
You can't see either.
I can feel you.
Okay. I can feel, we can always feel each other. Well, let's see what happens, because this is kind of my fourth blab now, so I'm still a blab rookie, which is glorious. But just to introduce Karina Ladet and why I really wanted to bring her into this is where were you born, Karina? What country were you born in?
Well, it's a bit complicated. I was actually born in, yeah, one of those long answers. I was actually born in Cuba because my dad was working there for a while. And so my dad was Swedish and my mom's Romanian. So I grew up in Sweden and we moved when I was 3. So yeah, so I grew up in Sweden and I left, well, as early as I could because I really wanted to travel the world. So I've lived in a few countries since then, but I've been in France now for 15 years. My husband's French, and
wow,
you know. Yeah, but yeah, I love learning new languages and, you know, experiencing new cultures. And I think it's really great to kind of step out. It's interesting with the work we do as well. It's like stepping out of your own reality and seeing things from a different angle. I think it's really great to, you know, to see things clearly and to, like stretch your own, what we think is possible for us, right?
Oh, absolutely. You're already diving into powerful content. I love you. I knew you were going to do this. For those who are watching, can hear you but can't see your faces. This is so interesting. Thank you for letting me know, Kimmy. Let's see if I can have a little bit of a play. I have open seat and lock seat. Okay, I'm going to touch lock seat and see what that does. It's not doing anything. I wonder what I can do now. Edit. No.
So it's interesting with technology, isn't it? It's probably the really powerful energy of all of us together, right? And Lysa is back. I can see myself.
I let myself in. I do, yes. I'm not going to touch anything. I'm like, hands away from the keyboard. So let me introduce Karina Ladet. She is most famous for being a channel. She's stepping into her healer self and is an amazing oracle. She offers incredibly pure, loving guidance from the angelic realm, from the heavenly realm. And has been professionally working as an intuitive now for 4 years and has served some of the most prestigious visionary leaders that we have in our time today. So Karina, in my experience, is one of the most pure channels that I've ever been blessed to connect with. And when you're actually in a session with her, when I've called on Karina to be able to support me, the purity and the potency is just really, really powerful. Karina leads circles. She has an upcoming event called No Limits in Brussels. So there's some big, amazing things happening in Europe, and we're really excited to have Karina talk to us about that later on. So Karina, welcome, welcome. I feel like doing a double welcome now because I just wanted to give you a bit of an intro because I want everyone to be able to understand why I revere you so much and why you're someone that I really look to, because in our field, you really want to be able to trust people and their gifts. And I just am so, so grateful that you've come into my world and that we've been blessed to connect, because I think there's some powerful information that I know is going to come through today around supporting our viewers and the people watching the replay to be able to support them to step into their light. So I'm excited to hear about your own experience, Karina, stepping into the light. And also, I know that this is a lot of the work that you do with your clients. So we would really love to hear some of the guidance that comes through for them, if we could hear a little snippet. Just what really helps people from your professional experience as an intuitive and a channel to be able to support them to step up and rise into their power and truth.
Oh, thank you so much for that intro, Lysa. You are so sweet, and I've loved connecting with you too. It's so great to be able to support each other in this way. And I could say all these wonderful things about you as well and the work that you do, because
we're
it's
showcasing
like
you outside doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was really lovely because it's like we mirror each other, don't we? And then we can all rise. So no competition, none of that stuff. Like we help each other to step out. And so how I do that in my work. Well, it's something I'm so passionate about because I feel like there are all these incredible people out there, like these amazing women who have incredible gifts. And what I see in my clients is sometimes they're kind of they think they need to learn something more, or they need to deepen, their whatever skill that they already have.
Wow.
Instead of just like embracing more of who they are, not looking to what other people are doing, not signing up for maybe more programs or more courses, unless they feel really called to, but really actually looking at what they've already done, where they are, and who they truly are. So usually I feel like I'm just putting up a mirror and I go, this is how amazing you are. This is the light I see in you. And then when they see it and they can feel it, you know how that is in a session, like if someone can really feel that, then it's just the most beautiful thing ever. And I think when we connect in with that space and we're in that space, it just makes everything flow, doesn't it? It makes creating our work easy. It makes like connecting with clients easy too. Doesn't mean the work is always easy in that sense, because it's really deep and sometimes it's painful and it can, take time. But there's a flow about it, and there's when we stop resisting and we go with the flow and we actually connect in with that, like our higher self or our wise woman who already knows she has all the answers to all our questions, doesn't she? She's like,
I'm already feeling more enlightened just listening to you for 2 minutes, Karina. Let me come back and summarize your points, because these are powerhouse points, and I just love how they're oozing and flowing from your beautiful mouth so gracefully and effortlessly. Just coming back to what you were saying around really witnessing them, that you were talking about your role is to really hold up a mirror and help them to see themselves. You spoke about how a lot of leaders honestly think that they need to deepen into their genius zone, that they need to be better at what they're amazing at, and that's often not the case. You're just reiterating that the more we permit ourselves just to bask in the truth of who we are, the more we step into flow. So I just love that point. I'm just like, oh, there's so many points. Let me just come back and summarize. Because, being able to have, because I go, what gives you the capacity to be able to be the mirror? And you have to own these light aspects within yourself in order to give them permission to own it. So I just want to acknowledge you, Karina, that you can't actually hold up the mirror and support someone to deepen into their power if you're not willing to do that. So I just know that we always do our work with our clients. Hey, like I love it. I think that's the best part of it, is that we embody and own what we're inviting them into. And as we see them resisting, we give ourselves permission to deepen in and see them fall into that flow. I just want to have some thank yous and some welcomes, because we have an amazing soul sister coming to join us, Rebecca Kane from Shiro's Journey. She is on my wish list for future interviews. So welcome, Rebecca. Rebecca, I would love to ask if you would like to grab a seat and pop on later on in the call. Just think about it. We would love to dance and play with you, even if it's just audio. So see how you feel. Mwah, mwah, back. And let me get back. You were talking about... I
have to own that stuff in myself before I can hold up the mirror. Yeah, that's a big work, isn't it? It's like that owning that. Work. And also, I guess when we work through all the the painful stuff and all the places in where we hold ourselves back and where we don't love ourselves and we don't honor ourselves. And I guess unless we've done that work, we can't do it for someone else, because then we'd be really triggered by, their painful stuff, the wounds, as well as the light. Like, how dare you shine? Because I'm not, allowing myself to. And that's been a really hard journey for me. I find it's easier to dig into the painful stuff than actually seeing the light for myself.
Wow, this is such an important conversation, because when we think about stepping into the light and rising into who we are, for people that have done a lot of work and have done a lot of personal development and a lot of healing, we often think we need to trudge back through the wounds over and over and over and over. But there gets a point in our healing where it's really important for us to actually own our light. That is where I see some really exciting work starting to take place. And I really honor you, Karina, for sitting in the tension of allowing yourself, the Marianne Williamson quote has to come to mind. Who am I to be talented and gorgeous and fabulous? And it's who are you not to be? That as we give ourselves permission to shine, we unconsciously give permission for everyone in our own space to be able to shine. And that's why I love hanging out with people like you, Rebecca Kane.
Yeah.
Now, Rebecca is saying that she can't hear Karina. I can hear you beautifully, Karina. So let's check in. Maybe Kimmy, can you let us know if you can hear Karina? Because I don't want you to miss out on that half of the conversation. Yeah. Okay, Kimmy can. This is good. Can anyone else share and comment with us that you're hearing us and seeing us beautifully? Because if we can wiggle jiggle around with our audio and bless it, we'll just we will bless the technology.
Sorry, Rebecca. Well, you can't hear me, so. Exactly.
Okay. Oh, Jody, yay. So lovely to see you joining our blab. Jody, if you would like to dance on and ask any questions later on, that would be lovely. If everyone listening would like to comment and share with us, where are you in the world? Because we've got a really international soiree of gorgeous souls, people who are really stepping into the light. So comment and tell us where you're from, and start thinking about any questions that you have from what you're hearing around supporting yourself to step into the light. So Karina, coming back to this, the challenge of owning our light, we're kind of shifting it a little bit, because stepping into the light is a process of owning and acknowledging. And I've spoken before about people that represent our light shadow. So a good example is you and the beautiful Joanna Hennon doing this amazing event in Brussels. And often the people that we're drawn to reflect aspects that are noble, that are characteristics of ourselves, that we haven't really embraced and owned. And listening to you two, you both really admire and revere one another. And yet you're both reflections of what you both contain.
Yeah, I love that. And it was such one of those determining moments when we had a session with you about our event, about stepping into our leader, a role as our role as leaders, which was like pretty triggering for both of us, because you were more like, we're just supporting everyone else and we're just here because the speakers are so awesome, you know, which they are, of course, but it was really stepping into that and then honoring the fact that we're actually calling in leaders as well, so that they can come and like feel that energy, and so we can connect as well. And then how we see what we see in each other, and that was really interesting as well, because it's like we think that we're half, right, and the other one has the other half, and so that's why I have to be with her, and I can't have what she has kind of in her personality. So it's really beautiful because Joanna's so amazing and she's great at, she's just great. And so it's been really good for us, because then that's kind of forced us to see that part in ourselves as well. So
absolutely,
I can own those parts in me and she can own those parts in her. And I think that's a really great lesson for anyone who is doing like joint collaborations, because I think a lot of us end up doing that at some point, because we're natural connectors and we love supporting each other. And so not putting all that into someone else and instead owning that part in us, right?
Yeah.
Yay.
Oh, it's so true. And this is what makes it so fun, is there's almost like a sequence of these little disowned parts of ourselves. And it's like, today I'm drawn to this person. I'm like, and then, you know, I really get to bask in what they're really radiating and what they're really owning, to thus use that to give myself permission to bring that forward more. So then we go on this little journey where we're just drawn to all the people. And I just really want to acknowledge Rebecca Kane, because when she came into my world, she was somebody that she just embodied her wisdom. She just owns that she is just so gifted and so powerful. All of her work in the She Rose journey is just so incredibly inspiring and so empowering that, you know, you see someone like that and you breathe it in. You go, you know, because she holds up the mirror. She's not there going, oh, I am this and you are so not that. You know, these are the people that we want to spend time with, people that allow us to own our light in their reflection. So this is very exciting. Thank you for Kimmy and Jody for telling us. We've got Vanessa. Yay, Vanessa. I know that you're coming from Australia. Tell us whereabouts in Australia you're coming from. And start thinking about questions that you're having. I love this conversation around owning our light shadow. So the noble, admirable, higher aspects of ourselves that we want to reject, that we're seeing in other people. So I'd love to hear, Karina, who are you admiring right now? If I could peer in and see.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So
you know
many
me, I have to
people, seriously. Yeah, just so many people, like you guys, you, Rebecca, Laura Waldman as well, who's in our group, who's like super discreet, but like so graceful in her way of doing healing and her work and showing up in the world, and Ruby Toad as well. And it's, I love it because there are all these women, mostly women, sorry, who have such different personalities, but it's so wonderful when you connect with that, the big heart and the generosity and the soulful, intuitive side, I guess, because it keeps coming back to that for me. And then I love there are quite a few women who are very loving and they have a big presence, but they're not necessarily the ones who shout the loudest. So I love Hero Boga. I love Jen Loudon. I really love Leonie Dawson too. And they really own who they are, you know, and have their own style. And I think all these women are very generous and they support each other, and they don't. Yeah, there's something about that I think that always comes back. So very heart-centered people. And Joanna Hennon, of course, because I love creating this event with her. And there's just, seem to be more and more people that I love, you know, just from connecting more and more. And I think, I don't know about you, Lysa, but the more I work on my own stuff and the more I learn to accept and honor myself, especially when I'm not being the way I would like to be, the more generous and accepting I can be of others, so that even if something they say triggers me, or there's something about their personality that isn't exactly like what I would normally connect with, it's like I can really connect with a beautiful heart underneath that. And then it becomes so much easier to have loving relationships, doesn't it? Because we don't get triggered by stuff that doesn't really matter.
And I love this because now you've flipped to shadow work. So we've done, light shadow work, owning the noble aspects that we see in other people. And now we've flipped over to shadow work, that when we are triggered and when we do find people's behavior or way of being something that causes a reaction in us, that's then our privilege to be able to look at that aspect and be able to embrace and own it. So I go, this is what I love about this, the light and shadow work, is that it allows us to hold all that we are. And this is what you're saying you admire so much about Hiro Boga and Leonie Dawson, is that they're such amazing feminine leaders who are actually embodying their truth. And I go, this is the work that I really feel is building up. There's this real energy and surge for people that are really wanting to clarify and come home to the truth of who we are, because it's so easily lost. As in, I believe we all go through a process of giving away our truth and really forgetting and disowning and rejecting all these beautiful parts of ourselves that we have to rely on everyone else to come up dancing, and then we go, oh, that's me, I love that. Could that be me? And then you're like, oh, that's not me. Oh, that's me. Oh, I do that too. And what I love the most about shadow work is that the more that I can love other people, the more I can love myself. So I use it that way, and I go, I see that part of you that I don't like in myself, but you are so worthy of love. I'm so ready to hold you and love you in that, knowing that I'm only ever improving my relationship with myself. So for everyone that's listening, yay, Vanessa is sharing she did shadow work yesterday. Okay, come on down, Vanessa, type in and tell us what the aspect was. If you'd be happy, I would really love to be able to hear what it is that you are really loving seeing that has caused that reaction. So go ahead and tell us what that aspect was. So I guess, Karina, another conversation, something else that I think everyone listening to this live blab and those who are going to be watching the replay, I think what I really admire the most about you, Karina, is that you've really owned your gifts. And in my work, as people are healing and coming back to the truth of who they are, I really see a lot of reluctance and a lot of fear. Some of the work that I've done with people has actually opened them up to their own gifts, and then they go, oh, what do I have to buy a deck of oracle cards and start doing readings, or do I have to be a psychic, or I'm not wearing the purple lace tie-dyed dress, you know what I mean? There can be some very confronting responses when people realize that they're gifted. And what I love knowing is that we are all gifted, but what I admire the most about you, Karina, is that you own and embody. So I would love to hear a little bit about your journey, really being able to accept that you are gifted, being able to understand what that gift was. And then I'd love to hear some stages, some awkwardness would be great if you wouldn't mind revealing, to be able to help us to see your path of stepping into your light and owning the truth of who you are has actually been very strongly influenced by owning your gifts and owning the natural inclinations that are you. So I'd love to hear, if you don't mind me going, oh, can I hear about this? And oh, can I hear about that?
Of course you can. It's so interesting though how we do that, right? Because I don't think of it as a gift. I just think like this is what I do, it just seems really natural. And I started my business because I was like, I took this channeling workshop in Sweden where I was living 15 years ago, and I actually met someone on a trip on the Azore Islands that I found out later. So it's off the coast of Portugal. And
it's so exciting, Karina.
It's really funny how that happened, because I had broken up with my boyfriend and I was like, oh, I'm going to go to a trip. And I was like, I have to go there. I didn't really know what it was, except that there are these small islands. So I got my ticket. I went. Oh, thank you, Rebecca.
It gets very distracting sometimes going, oh!
If I start typing, I'm going to forget what I was going to say. And so I went traveling. So I kind of island hopped, and I met these incredible people. And, oh, interesting, Kim. Yeah, there must be something about that, like, freedom, not in a relationship, need to travel. Yeah, and being really open, because I remember just letting myself be guided. Seriously, I just got my flight ticket, and I ended up asking someone at the airport, like, are there any places I can stay? And she was like, oh, I know a place. I'll drive you when I finish work at the end of the day. And I ended up just, I don't know, hitchhiking and finding these amazing places to stay. And I met awesome people. And one of them was a Swedish woman that I actually reconnected with not that long ago. And she said that she had been to a channeling course and she had learned how to connect with her spirit guides. And I had never heard of channeling before. You know, it wasn't like it was super common to meet people who talked about that sort of stuff. Even now, not everyone knows what it is. And I was like, oh, I have to do that. And, you know, something in my heart just went, oh, it's for me, you know? And so I ended up waiting probably for a year before I signed up for my course. And I did. And I spent 2 days, doing what everyone else does. Like, I don't know if this is going to work, you know, because maybe not for me and all that stuff. And it was just like super smooth. And I connected in my guides and it was wonderful. And I remember thinking, this is what I want to do. I want to connect and, you know, transmit these messages. And I want to teach other people how to do this, because if they know that they can connect and receive the messages from themselves, then, you know.
Self-reliant,
amazing, right? Because that means that you have your own guidance just there, right? But it was really funny because during the workshop, we did all these exercises and we were trying stuff on each other. And I kept receiving hearts and images of love. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. Universal love and all that. And so I've been single for about a year. And I actually met my husband like a few weeks after the course. And we left to go to France like a month after that. So we'd known each other for, I don't know, a month and a half, 6 weeks. Yeah, something really, really random. Anyway, so it was kind of crazy because actually it was like a big, I guess, awakening in a way, because it just opened up so many doors for me. And it's kind of funny because a lot of people kind of hide these things, or they don't really talk about them that much. I was working as a marketing manager in a recruitment company in Stockholm. And I remember telling everyone, I was like, wow, I did this awesome thing for a weekend. You should all try it. And they were like, that's a bit weird, Karina, but, you know, we're happy for you.
Get comfortable with your weirdness, stepping into the light. Get comfortable with some people perceiving you as super weird.
Yeah, and I guess it depends, because it depends what kind of environment you're in, because I've always been, you know, a little bit weird. I mean, I kind of fit into pretty much anywhere, but I've never been like the normal kid, so I always feel like, you know, I can do what I want and people don't really expect me to be that normal and traditional, which gives me a lot of freedom. So, you know, it doesn't mean I talk about spirituality with everyone, because I really don't. Like, I'm actually pretty secretive, except on Facebook. But in my normal life. But I did, I did start sharing. And it's kind of funny because because then we moved to France and I didn't know anyone, and I had like a normal job for a while, but I knew I wanted to start my business. So I would just kind of, once in a while, I'd like offer to do a reading for someone I just met. And it would always be like the right person who's really open to that, maybe who didn't really know what it was. But sometimes it's because they have, they feel safe with you, right? So if someone connects with you who doesn't really believe in that sort of stuff, like maybe it's because they feel that they can trust you. So whatever technique you use, is probably.
Wow, let me just go back. You just, oozing gold. I just love how you were talking about stepping into the light and owning who you are, because it's not a gift, it's who you are. You embrace that fear and doubt of going a channeling workshop. Like, what if it doesn't work? You know, and I think it's really interesting because I could feel so much desire in your heart. You know, I could really feel that when you saw that opportunity, I felt this real surge of desire and passion. And I think it's really interesting that those two things are probably going to be really present for everyone that's stepping into who they are. If they see an opportunity to do something where there's a lot of desire and a lot of doubt, that's probably bang on absolutely something that's going to be so amazing for them. So I really honor that you allowed yourself to sit in that fear and the doubt, and then you had that amazing connection, and you can't turn back now, hun.
No, it's too late. Yeah, thank you, Lysa. It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think it's like that desire. It becomes so strong. At some point, we just can't resist, and it keeps coming back, and it keeps coming back, and then you're like, I'm just gonna do it, you know. And you can tell people don't answer that call, because they become all, you know, tired and sad, and there's no joy left, you know. We don't want to be like that. And also something that, you know, Lysa, maybe not everyone knows, is I lost my dad when I was 7, or, you know, he died. I still feel very connected to him. And I think since then, I became aware really quickly that life is happening now, and don't wait for the good stuff. Don't wait for someone to give you permission to do the things you really long for. You know,
I love you. I love you.
I love you too.
This is such a powerful message, and I think everyone, you know, this is something that I wish I could just broadcast to the whole world right now, that we need people who are willing to follow their own joy and willing to give themselves permission to follow these desires. And, you know, hearing your beginning story, you know, sharing about, you know, losing your dad, losing his physical presence, it connected you. And I think I can't help but reflect on really owning that I'm an intuitive and I'm an empath has been really interesting, because it was, I kind of was good at guessing, I would have said. But then our first little baby, as soon as I was pregnant, we knew it was time to begin our family, my husband and I. And then I had this little baby, and it's like his presence just amplified everything. And I knew I'd conceived him from the moment I'd conceived him. Well, maybe not from the moment, but his presence was felt very, very soon on. And I think what he did, I think he acted as a magnifier. So where I didn't really acknowledge my own capacity to understand and see and perceive, but with him, and I carried him for 8 weeks. And then what happened, I miscarried him, but I didn't lose my perception. It's like he came through and really amplified my gift. And I remember my husband and I was in New Zealand, and I didn't know the area very well. And so I went to a place where my husband knew a lot of people, and I said, I'm just going to see someone, and then I'm going to guess their profession. And because he knew them all, I said, tell me whether I'm on or not. And it was like, you know, 8 people, and I guessed their occupation. And so we were like, oh, whoa, we better pay attention to this. This is really interesting. So that was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. And just last year, for everyone who is gifted and thinking, I just want to share my funny process of actually owning, I don't know what I do yet. Some people say it's accessing their Akashic record or just being intuitive. But I actually went onto Fiverr. If you've ever heard of fiverr.com, it's like all these gigs for $5. So I offered intuitive readings for $5.
Oh.
and I just put up a little picture, and I'm like, you know, just tell me your name and I'll receive an intuitive message for you. And I just, because I want to highlight that this is how we develop the nature of who we are. You said, Karina, that you just trialed what you knew you wanted to do more of, and waited for the right people to come up. And I think over the last year, I've finished now, but over the last year, I did about 65 different readings, and hearing the feedback is how we develop and how we actually accept and honor our own gift, because then it becomes irrefutable. I'm like, I know I can't know this, therefore I must know. I don't know what I'm doing, but I know that it comes with love. And that's what I really honor about your gift, Karina, is that whenever you're serving, you always serve with love. So for those people who think that they could be oracles, or that you could be an intuitive or an empath or a healer, I personally believe that we're all of that, but you're going to be inclined to developing one aspect or another. So go ahead and trust yourself. And I have definitely given messages to people on the street, and I love it, because I feel like this little strange angel. I'm buzzing. By the way, I just wanted to tell you blah, blah, blah. And then it's the look on their faces. Hey, Karina. It's the look on their faces where they go, how could you know that? Or that was exactly what I needed to hear. And I go, when I have experiences like that, where I get to be a messenger for other people, I remember deeply that I'm loved, I'm guided, and I'm protected. And that's why this is why we do it, because I need that information. I need to know that I'm loved and I'm guided. So I'm really, really grateful that you've shared your loss, which kind of activated your awareness of your amazing connection, and that it's through that suffering that you're actually serving people now. So I just want to honor you, Karina, for what you've passed through in order to do what you do, and I'm just so in awe of it. So I really want everyone else to hear that's listening here live or that is listening to the replay that loss and that grief can actually be a portal to deep connection. And Karina and I really hope that you can use it for that, because I go, if it's not to bless us, then we really do feel very alone. Hey, Karina.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, thank you so much. You're so lovely, Lysa. And I can so see you walking up to people going, I have to tell you something. I've never actually done that before.
Oh, really? Oh, that's so funny.
But I'm a bit sneakier, you know, because I'm like, I'm Swedish, so I want everyone to feel okay. We don't want to stand out. And everyone has to be kind of the same. So I'm a bit more discreet, but usually it's like, oh, wow. Like we were having dinner yesterday with my husband. We were celebrating his 40th birthday. So it's a surprise thing. And I ended up chatting with someone in a room, and she was like kissing me and hugging before we left, because I think it's just that love connection where people feel like they can, they feel seen and they feel loved. And the more we embrace that in ourselves, the more love there is. And so people feel that, and then they give love, and we're just in this kind of, I don't know, spiral of love, I guess.
Yeah. Amen. Yes.
It's so beautiful, isn't it? It's like, because underneath everything that we do, there's love, right? That's what we all long for, and that's where we all feel at home. So we have different techniques, but in the end, it's just connecting in with that love and feeling it and sharing it.
You're more incognito. You're like a secret love spy. Da-na-na, da-na-na. And then you're like, psst, psst, psst. And then they're like, But it's, I just love that we know the delivery that's right for us, because me being a little bit strange and, in my own weird loving way, it really endears people to me. I'm sure I've had a few people walk away and be like, but that doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, it's our willingness to be able to bear the truth that comes to us and be able to impart the messages that we feel, that at the end of the day, we do this for ourselves. So I really want to honor and acknowledge everyone. I love hearing some of these messages that are coming through of people who are really accepting and owning their own gifts. Vanessa is sharing that she started reading the Akashic records, and the terror that she feels before speaking to her clients has started to become invigorating.
I love that. That's a great reframe.
That's a beautiful reframe. And I always go, whenever I feel really nervous and scared to do something, it's going to be really important. So, these sorts of reframes where our ego would tempt us to back down or back away, really step into it. So, cool. Jody is sharing. I'm at the point now where I know I have gifts, but I resist them coming forward. Darling, share with us why. That would be really, really lovely to be able to. Now, I'm going to see if I want to bring someone in, but I'm not really sure how, and I'm like so scared of touching it. So I'm like, okay, so we've got a seat open. If someone would like to come in, if someone would like to just click on the call seat, I think it says. If you would like to chat to us about your emerging gifts and about stepping more into your own light, Karina and I would love to love you up. If you have questions that you would like to just share with us, Vanessa was sharing something really awesome before around her stubbornness. She was talking about, that was the shadow aspect. She said, I was reflecting in a repeating pattern and trace it back to 7 years ago when I started. Then I had to honor my vulnerability and the fear at the time when I made the stubborn choice. This is perfect, because these shadow aspects of ourselves that we think are bad, they're only protecting us. That stubbornness was really activated in order to make sure that beautiful Vanessa felt safe in who she was. So this is where, and this is what I love about shadow work, because none of it's bad. These aspects are only there to really protect us and support us. So if anyone has any questions, that would be lovely to be able to hear your questions about developing your own gift. Come in and ask to open the seat if you would like. Otherwise, we're going to keep on sharing with you, knowing that this conversation from Karina's life is going to be helping you. So I would love to bring it to the current present and how you're stepping out and stepping up. And most importantly, I want to acknowledge you for being willing with Joanna Hennon to be able to, am I saying her name correctly, Karina?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's so important for me to get people's names right. On March 4th until 6th, there's actually this amazing event for light leaders who are wanting to amplify and strengthen themselves, both in the practical sense and in the spiritual sense, a gathering in Brussels. And if you'd be happy, Karina, just to talk about that process, because I know you shared with me that originally, this was something you wanted to give other people. And then you realized that this was more about your emergence as a leader for yourself and that you're calling more leaders forward so that you can rise up. I'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, that's such an exciting part, because for Joanna and I, it's been such a wild ride, because we had I guess it was the desire to create something, because we both wanted to attend an event like this, but we haven't found any in Europe, because sometimes it's in the US, sometimes it's in Australia, but never in Europe, where it's only business or only spiritual or like heart-centered. So we wanted something that had both. Kind of what we find online, but offline, because it's so nice to meet people for real, right? And so we thought, what if we create one? And then it kind of started from there, from that kind of crazy idea to we're actually doing it. But then I guess, like, for a lot of us healers and intuitives, like, we love supporting others, right? We're standing in the background on the side and we're helping them and we're supporting, but we don't really want to step into the light for ourselves, because we don't always see the value in that. And then I guess the whole ego thing as well, like, who do you think you are, and all that, right? And I guess because a part of it feels like we're just the vessel, right? Which is true, but it's still coming through us, and people connect with us. So if they don't like us, even if we have great messages, it's probably they're not gonna receive the messages fully, I don't think. So it's like owning that too, right? Because we did choose to come into this lifetime and do this work. So it's owning that fully. And then as we started exploring it, and after a session with you as well, Lysa, it was so great, because it was really about leadership, and just the word leader really triggered me. I'm like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. You know?
Oh, that's gold.
Yeah, which is really funny, right? And then it's like, because when I think leader, I think 50-year-old man, you know, who looks really important, right? And a bit serious. And it's like, no, actually, it is whatever you want it to be. Just like intuitive can be anything you want it to be, and you can look any way you want to. Like, it's not about that stuff. It's about embodying that energy and being fully present and bringing that. And I find for me, it's helped a lot to not focus so much on myself, like who I have to be in order to do this, except, that I have to actually be able to hold that energy so I can step into it and bring others with me. But when I focus on the message, then I could do it, because I'm very passionate about that, about supporting others so they can step into the world and create the positive change that we want to create. If I focus on that, then the energy kind of comes, and I feel okay, because I'm willing to step into the light in order to bring that message forward and do whatever it takes. Because then it's not so much about me, because then all I have to do is show up fully and be like the clearest channel I can be, and bring as much love and, kind of my stuff. Like, I love bringing lots of joy and playfulness, because sometimes when we do intuitive work and we get into the spiritual world and the spiritual techniques, it can get a bit serious, and when we get really serious and like, this has to work. Yeah, we just kind of shut everything down, right? And they're just playing, the way kids do. They just play and they learn and they grow, and it's no big deal. So I love that. Ruby, this is you. Hey, Ruby.
Yay, Ruby. Hi, Ruby.
And I love Jody's question too. Can I just?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, this is yours.
Please.
So Jody says, I think I resist because I'm scared of what people will think of me. I'm not used to having so much power. That's a great question. And I think what I suggest, because I'm not into like pushing people and like, go, 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 you know, like pushing through pain and suffering. Like, I suggest you connect in with like your inner child, or that part of you that feels scared. And you like ask her what she needs in order to come on board, so you can move through and give yourself or that part of you a lot of love. And then take one step at a time. Because I don't know for other people, but for me, it's definitely been like a one step at a time, and then waiting a little bit, taking a step back, and one more step. Because there are a lot of things that there are things I do now I never thought I would do. Like, I'm not necessarily super comfortable with like seeing myself on video or having photos of me or just me like that. Because it's just, you know, I don't really attach that much importance to my physical self, because I'm all about the connection spirit, you know, and the message and the bigger vision.
Yeah, of
you
course.
Know? But then when you work online, if you don't show your face and you don't talk to people, they're not going to know that, and then you can't bring your message, right? So I had to kind of learn.
Yeah.
So instead of pushing myself and being really scared, and I mean, there's this sense, we do have to stretch ourselves and do things that feel uncomfortable. But I think if we have to push, it's maybe a part of us isn't ready yet. So go in and like help that part heal, and then you can move through, and it's going to be more fun, and it's going to be, you know, you're going to feel like you're not being mean to yourself. Because I think, you know, those parts, like Lysa said before, like our shadows, it's just those scared parts of us that go, hey, that's not safe, don't do that. You know?
Yeah, totally, like Karina. This is so encouraging. I've just like written down all these like delicious notes from what you've been saying, because it's just so revealing, and it's so lovely for everybody to see somebody that's in your position who's basically utilizing the steps and living it and embodying it for anyone else who's starting out as well. So I just really love hearing that, and I just want to reiterate this powerful strategy for you to be able to take yourself out of the equation, honor and acknowledge that you have to be a part of it in order for it to come through, but give more precedence to the message in order to allow you to forget your own stuff, forget your own perception of who you are and what you think you're capable of, in order to really give permission for the power of that message to come through. Because I kind of wrote down that you're a servant to the message, and that, you know, but the more you can reveal yourself and be honest about who you are, the more you permit that message to be received by those who need it. And this is why we work on ourselves, because we really want to make sure that we're that pure channel and the pure conduit for being able to hold the sanctity of that message. And I see everyone as doing that. This is what I look to in these people that we're both revering and we're both admiring, because we see how they reach people that we couldn't. And I want to honor and acknowledge that someone like Jody's just thanking you for that, you know, for Jody, there's people that, you know, Jody can reach that are right for Jody, that she's their leader. Does that make sense? And so, you know, you were talking about how there was a fear around the concept of leader, and that was triggering you a little bit. But you were talking about how really showing up, being a clear channel, and being fully present, and that's your way of really allowing this magnificence to come through you. So that is just golden advice for everyone who's really wanting to step into the light in their own way. So I'm just so in awe. I just knew you were going to be amazing for this conversation, but I'm like just so overwhelmed by the powerful message that you're bringing through. And we had 2 people that were wanting to join in our call, but I wasn't actually familiar with both of you. So if you would really like to introduce yourselves, we might be able to make some time to be able to receive you. But we'd really like to receive someone that's chatting to us and helping us to know who they are. We want to be able to invite someone really friendly and lovely into our space. So if you fit that bill and you would like to come on through, we would love to be able to spend time with you. Hello, hi, lovely Abo Fahed. Thank you for joining the call. We're talking today all about stepping into the light, and Karina Ladet is just oozing wisdom and guidance. that you can utilize at beginning stages and advanced stages. And that's what I love about the power of principles, is that it doesn't matter where you're at. When you're talking about step by step, we all need to just go step by step. And I went for a jog in my gumboots yesterday, as I do now. I'm living on a farm. And I was really thinking about how if you kind of stand still and then you jump, you have to exert a lot of force to get a certain level of, distance covered. And I was really thinking about that momentum, that when you're really, I like to sprint like a gazelle when I run. I like to embody this kind of, because I find like trying to run fast is just not in my flow. And so I like to, it's almost like a swift run, but I really like having a lot of distance between my legs. And it was just making me think about how when we get into the rhythm of taking these steps, we actually end up covering a lot of distance. And that when we can kind of start to get into the rhythm, it's not so much force and effort on our physical body to just do one jump. It's like there's a flow, and I was just putting my hands out and just trying to fly down the hill. I didn't get any lift off, but I was certainly imagining myself. There's a lot of hawks where I live, and they're really speaking to me right now, really calling me up into that leader vision. So I'm really hearing a lot of that hawk wisdom and hawk medicine coming through you. And ever since I've met you, Karina, I just see clouds around you, and you're such a sky dweller for me. So I'm so in raptures of that. So I would love to hear from you, Karina, about how you like to lead other people into owning your light. I really love that you not only work with some amazing light leaders and serving and guiding them to step into their light, but you also hold circles. So I'd love to hear from you about how you actually hold that space for a group of women who are all simultaneously stepping deeper into who they are and owning their light.
That's a great question. Actually, I started, one of the first things I did in my business was I did a channeling course, because that was my big dream, right? So it was kind of funny because I was very typical Karina style. It was like, okay, so if I want to do this, I have to I'll get my ticket, because if I have my plane ticket, then I have to do it, right? And if I have to do it in place, and then I have to market it, right? I can't just wait for the perfect time. So I'll just buy my ticket, which is what I did. It was just kind of crazy.
Gosh.
So my first course,
very faithful.
yeah. And I was like, hope this is going to work. Anyway, I had two people sign up. One was my friend, and the other one was the friend of my friend. And I had visualized like 20 people. And thank goodness I did not have 20 people for my first channeling course, because it's really intense, like energetically. And honestly, I wasn't ready to lead 20 people. So thank you so much to those two people, because we had it was really, really wonderful. And it was such a great first step. And now I've been leading like bigger and bigger groups, and I love it. So for me, that's been a really, it's been challenging, because I don't like being in the position of leading. I want to be just part of the group. And so for me, it's been really finding my own way of leading in a way that helps the group feel safe, because there's enough structure and there's someone like guiding them, but not becoming the kind of leader I don't enjoy, like a bit too, taking up too much space, and maybe not supporting enough. So I honestly think in order to be a good leader when it comes to groups, you just have to try stuff out, like trying things and finding your own way, and then growing the parts that you need to grow, and just getting out of our own way, I think. Because I think we're, like, when we're doing our soul's work, that we have all the skills we need. So we just have to like get out of our own way and let us be guided. And I find that the more I do that, the easier it flows. And then just remembering that it's not so much about me, and not getting it attached to the results, because you see someone and you go, oh, I can see that light in you, and I can see your potential. But some people aren't, like, maybe that person isn't ready to embody all of that right now, and honoring that that's perfect for where they are. And I found that's been really helpful for the space. and then I go more and more all out in creating the sacred space, because I used to be, sometimes I would just have I would rent a space that I wouldn't be able to visit before, and I would just kind of come in, throw up my candles and crystals, and we would just get going, which is okay. You can do it that. But now I really connect in with the space. I bring flowers. I do a lot more energy work to prepare the space, whether it's online and offline, actually. So I do a lot more of that. And I really enjoy it because it puts me into that energy, and people can feel that too even before they start the circle. There. Yeah. So I think it's also owning that kind of the wise woman and the whole ritual around that I love, because I love rituals and I love ceremony and connecting in, and I guess just becoming more and more confident and being able to play more and use what's there, because I find that every group, and I'm sure you know this, Lysa, too, it's every group has its own dynamics and its own energy, and when you tap into that, you're going to say exactly what they need to hear. And when you work with the energy, it's like surfing a wave, isn't it? Not that I've ever surfed, but
I'm sure we could surf if we can lead circles. I think I've only done 3 circles now. How many have you been blessed to lead so far, Karina? I don't know this about you.
Wow, a bunch. I don't know, maybe I'd say between 10 and 15, maybe.
Wow, that is amazing. Because you have a new circle opening up starting the day after Valentine's Day, starting on the 15th of February. What's the name of your new circle that you're bringing forward?
It's the Sacred Soul Sister Circle.
Wow.
Because it's a mastermind, but I thought mastermind didn't sound, beautiful and sacred enough. So, and to me, it's really about circling, circle, and that the support we have when we support each other, and that kind of like spirals, I guess. We work through the different layers, and it's so cool because it's the wonderful Rebecca, who is maybe still around, or who was anyway, who said, "Well, Karina, create what you want." And I thought, what do I want?
Wise woman indeed.
She's so good at anything creative. She has so many ideas. And then I thought, okay, what's been the best thing in the last year for me, for my business, and for myself? And it's our sacred mastermind. And then I have one live here in France as well. And that's the number one thing that has supported me the most this year, to not do things on my own, because I don't know how many of us do that. We do things on our own, and we're always the ones that everyone kind of relies on, and we're always taking care of other people. And then if on top of that we do intuitive work, or any kind of that kind of work where you hold space for others, you're again that person who creates and holds space, which is wonderful. But I think we really need to just step into someone else's space and just be able to be who we are and just share, like we do in our circle. I'm having a really rough day and this is happening, and having someone who knows exactly what that feels like, who's been through it, to either just gently guide, sometimes push a bit, and sometimes it's just allowing that person to go through the process instead of getting lost. And you know how we do that, right? We get lost and then we stay in that space for however long until we find our way back. But that takes a lot of time. And I find that over time, when we do that, after a while, we become discouraged, right? Because it kind of wears us down a bit. I feel that a bit for myself, because I've been in business for 4 years. And at first I was really super excited and it was all new. But now I find that I have to be really careful not to go that, not to allow myself to be in that dark space for too long on my own, because then I have a hard time believing that what I dream of is actually going to happen, because, it didn't work last time, and didn't work, and just having other people like you saying, hey, but do you remember what you learned from that? And do you remember how far you've come now? And you go, oh, right, okay. So so that was my dream. And I was like, oh, I want to create that for other women. And I know exactly, who I would like to invite into the space. And And it just kind of flew out of me one night when I woke up and my guides were going, we got information for you.
I don't care that you want to sleep right now. Get up, get up. The time is now, Karina.
Yeah, so I did. I went downstairs and I was writing on Facebook, like, okay, this is the download I've received, and this how I've, this is what it is, and if you feel called. And I had someone connect in like right away, and then I went to bed, and I woke up a few hours, and I had like all these people contacting me about the circle, and it's just the right people. Like, oh wow, seriously, the circle is just. Yeah, it's just like a newborn baby, and you go, wow, I don't know where you came from, but I love you already.
And this is so beautiful because Jodi's bringing forward this concern, how she's sharing that I think I resist owning her gifts because I'm scared of what people will think of me. I'm not used to having so much power. So just in your last moment, what would you say to that, Karina? And then I'd love to share with people, how they can get in touch with you if they feel called to work with you or hear more details about your circle. So what would you say to Jodi, Karina?
Oh, wow. Well, take care of the scared parts in you, because every time you're going to take that next step, the fears are going to come up, and it's just normal and part of the process. And it just means that those parts need some healing. And sometimes you'll go over the same stuff a few times, and sometimes it's going to be new stuff. It's just like uncovering deeper and deeper layers. And I think that's great, because when you do intuitive work, that's where you're going to go with the people who come to you. So it's great practice for you, great growth for you, and then a great gift to share with the people who come to you. And then the power, I think that's a great point, because it also has to do with power, like embodying that power and what it means. And I guess everyone's journey.
Some light shadow work, hey?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a really. I've had a lot of. It's been really hard for me to kind of own my own power and setting strong boundaries and like really honoring myself. So I think I would just suggest like take one step at a time and be kind to yourself and be gentle. Like, how would you guide your best friend through that? You wouldn't push them, you'd be really kind and you would be really patient, and then ask for support, because it can be a lonely journey. So whatever that looks like, I mean, the circles I'm offering from February 15th and then for 8 weeks. And then we're going to keep going for those who want to, and there may be new people coming in as well. But if you need to, but find support in any way that you can, because that's what I say to people who maybe are at the beginning of the journey, or maybe they don't feel comfortable investing money right now in something, or they don't really know what they want. Look around you, like online or in your life, and connect with people that you feel would like to support you or that you could support. But make sure that you really feel good when you're with them. So don't choose, and I've done this myself, that's why I'm saying it. Don't choose people that you can support or who need help or who you think need help.
Yes, someone that can support you and hold space for you. That's so magical. You're just this luminous, wise woman, Karina, and I feel so full. My spirit and my heart is so lovely and full from everything that you've brought forward. I'd love to go back over some of these, but it'd be lovely to listen to this replay. For everyone listening here, just in these last few moments, how can people contact you, Karina?
Well, I hang out way more than I should on Facebook. So it's Karina Ladet. I'm very lucky because apparently not that many people online have my name. So you can find me on Facebook. You can find me on my website. So that's karinaladet.com. You can email me through my website, and then I have all my offers and my blog posts, and I have like free guided meditations and lots of inspiration. So definitely on my website or on Facebook or on Instagram. So I use my name again, Karina Ladet, on Instagram. If you want to see me playing in the snow.
Yeah, I saw that picture. I loved it. It's all about childlike play.
So much fun.
So this whole interview with you has just been childlike play, and the time has gone so quickly. So we're wrapping up today's Inspire Higher interview with Karina Ladet. Get her at karinaladet.com or see her on Facebook. Am so full. My heart is really full, and I hope everyone has gotten something really magical out of this. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We really hope that it's been powerful and that this information will help you step up into your light and own the truth of who you are. Big love, hugs, and blessings. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you, Karina.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me, Lysa. You're beautiful. It was lovely to hang out with your friends and our friends, too. Thank
yes,
you,
we're mixing them. Bye, everyone. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Bye.